You are listening to the TravelMongol podcast, episode number 2.
Over 800 years ago, from a land shadowed in mystery, a young boy grew to unite the tribes of the north into the largest empire this world has ever seen. You have a desire to discover Chingis Khan, his people, and his culture. You feel the call of the mountains, grasslands, and the untamed beauty of the sky. Now, there exists a place where the secrets of the Mongols are given to those willing to explore a forgotten past. TravelMongol.com. Step into adventure.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the TravelMongol podcast. This is episode number 2. I'm Colton.
And I'm Sept.
And today's episode, we're going to talk about the 5 things you need to know about Mongolia. So, the first thing on the list is Chingis Khan. So, Sept, who was Chingis Khan?
He's my brother.
Well, you are obviously related, but tell us a little bit more about him.
Yeah, I don't know if we're related or not, but I just know that he was very fast, he was smart, and he was very good at making war tactics, and he had the largest empire in the history of the world.
Why do you think his empire got so big? I mean, how big was it?
It stretches all the way to Europe, to Southeast Asia, and it covered most of Russia, China. It was the largest empire in the history of the world.
Yeah. I know in school we talked about him, when I was in America, and lots of different reasons why it got so big. I mean, they speculate it's because of the speed. Mongolians were always on horseback, and so they could travel around so fast. There could have been political reasons. Maybe it was just the strategies that he used as far as his war strategies and stuff. But since I've been here, I found out something really interesting about Chingis Khan, and that is that nobody has ever found his grave. Is that true, Sept? Have you heard that before?
Yeah, and they're still looking for it. They can't find it anywhere.
What kind of stories have you heard about it? I mean, I've heard people say, like, there's supposed to be treasure or something like that with it. But
Yeah, but nobody really knows about it.
Mm-hmm.
We just know that he's somewhere underground.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Okay.
But something else, I mean, as soon as you come to Mongolia, I mean, one of the first places that you land is at the airport, obviously, if you're coming in by airplane. And the name of the airport is Chingis Khan Airport. It's kind of interesting, just how much Mongolians respect and almost worship Chingis Khan, So, I mean, Chingis Khan is really a political national hero to Mongolians.
Yeah. Well, as you said, the airport is called Chingis Khan, and also there are a lot of other things that's named after him, like hotels, alcohol brands. He's on the face of all the money. And there's even a new law that states businesses are not allowed to use his name. But even though people, they still try to use his name in a different way, because everybody knows that a Khan is like when you say Khan, you say Chingis Khan. So they started calling bars like Great Khan, like Grand Khan, like stuff like that.
What does the word Khan mean exactly?
It means king.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the most important things you have to know when you come to Mongolia is that if you get into a debate with a Mongolian person about Chingis Khan, don't get carried away. Don't say nothing bad about Chingis Khan. Don't say he was a murderer or anything, because people have different opinions. But Mongols are very defensive about him, and you don't want to get your nose punched in.
Exactly. You definitely don't want to make anybody mad by offending, their culture and their national history.
Yeah, and
sure.
And one thing about Mongolians is that we're okay with calm people, but if you say bad stuff about our culture or Mongolia or Chingis Khan or anything like that, we get very aggressive. And the second thing you have to know about Mongolia is the Russian influence, the Soviet Union. So, Colton, what do you know about it?
Well, learning about the fact that Mongolia was part of the Soviet Union was something very interesting to me as I came to Mongolia, saw the way things were set up. As far as the connection between Russia and Mongolia, I mean, you can see it in things like the government, in politics. You can see it in the parliament, lawmaking, the military and the army were set up and established by the Soviet Union.
The buildings,
Uh-huh.
the letters, the language, the words we use,
Exactly.
the food we eat.
I was really surprised when I started learning the Mongolian language because, as far as the writing goes, you think of an Asian language and it's always strange characters like Chinese or Japanese, but Mongolian's actually written with the Russian alphabet because when Mongolia was part of the Soviet Union, they made the change over, and so now it's all written in Cyrillic.
Yep.
So, in connection to Mongolian culture, Sept, what else has been changed?
Well, we had a lot of Buddhism in here. We still have it, but at the time, there were hundreds and hundreds of Buddhist monks, and they started killing them because they wanted to start the communist
The regime?
communist regime in here. And you also couldn't talk about people like Chingis Khan. Basically, Mongolia was the second communist country after Russia, and it was very, very extremely strict in here.
Yeah, I know. I've heard stories of the monks being killed, the fact that no one was allowed to have any kind of religion. You also, I've noticed, you run into a lot of people who know Russian.
Yeah, I know Russian myself too because we have a lot of Russian schools here. And my mom, my dad, my grandparents, they went to Russia to study, and they have this Russian thing about them that they even think Russian, and they sent me to Russian school.
I see.
Yep.
Like they've learned the Russian culture almost.
Yeah, and in our family, we used to eat a lot of Russian food, and we wear a lot of Russian clothing.
I know as far as the food goes, there's lots of European restaurants over here, especially, specifically Russian restaurants. It's kind of interesting, you can go in and get Russian food, and not only can you find Mongolian food in Mongolia, but you can also find Russian food in Mongolia, which is actually pretty good.
Yeah, well, now even the Russian foods, they even considered some foods considered as almost as Mongolian foods, like the piroshki and the soups and stuff. And one other big influence that came from Russia is alcohol, vodka.
There's a lot of vodka.
Well, you see, because before Russia came into Mongolia, this country was a completely different country. We were very Asian. We were nomadic people. We didn't know anything about the developed stuff like the guns, the computers, the
modern medicine, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
But Russia came in and changed everything. See, a lot of people know that Russians are very good at drinking vodka, and it influenced a lot in Mongolia. And even now, there are a lot of drunks in Mongolia.
Yeah, it's sad to see that, but that's the way it is.
Yeah, and you see the brands like alcohol brands like Chingis Khaan, vodkas everywhere. One of the biggest industries are alcohol industries.
Yeah. So as far as other influences from Russia, I mean, things like jobs, obviously. How did it used to work under the Soviet influence? I mean, how did you guys get jobs back then?
You go to school, you study what you want to be in Russia. You come back and you get the job. And along with the job, you get the apartment, you get everything you need.
I've noticed nowadays it's still, as far as school goes, it's still pretty vocationally centered or vocationally oriented. I mean, you pick what you want to be, whether you want to be a doctor, you want to be a banker, and that's what you study in school. Specifically, you graduate and then you get a job as a banker or a doctor or whatever your field is.
Yeah, but at that time, the education system came out because of the need of the industrialism. So, yeah, we're a free country now. Russia obviously influenced the way of thinking for the people.
I know I've talked to people, and it's like, even talking with Sept, here he just barely said that, you're not allowed to have religion, those kinds of things. It's like they've changed. To continue listening to this episode, please visit our website at TravelMongol.com, where you will find more episodes just like this one. Also, please take a moment to enter your email address and subscribe to the #1 Mongolian travel podcast. Come with us and step into adventure.